It's really good.
Nice. We're gonna have
him on.
Yeah,
he was that yesterday?
No, was he somewhere else?
It was yesterday morning.
Yeah, I tried to get him yesterday morning and he was busy.
All right,
Tuesday mornings are sales meetings.
We're officially recording, just so you guys know. So
that button does nothing, by the way.
It's a time. It's a timer, but it's a dramatic effect. So, Nick and Karina, welcome on to the podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Welcome, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you guys carving some time out of the day. So, before we get into the nitty gritty, figure we just toss it to each of you and hear a little bit more about. See, now you guys are nervous, right? I just want to toss it to each one of you guys and hear a little bit more about your background, kind of how you ended up in real estate, and I don't know. I'm sure we'll have some good conversation from there. Is that cool? It's going to get a lot less awkward in a few minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Nick, you want to take us start us off?
Yeah. So I've been in real estate 14 years now. Right out of college, I went into a family brokerage.
It's actually much longer than I thought you were in the business.
No How offense. Are you even that old?
I look old, right? 5 years in real estate looks like 20 on your face. So yeah, it's the wrinkles, but it's only been 14 years. It feels like a lifetime. So like it took probably 5-7 years for me to actually get going.
Yeah. Did you start full time right off the rip at the family brokerage?
Full time, but I was kind of a little bit the office bitch. So I didn't really learn much.
Is that how you figured out how to get the coffees?
Yes.
So you used to do that?
I did a good job.
Nick brought us coffee.
Thank you.
Good job.
Hot.
Thank
I got
you.
the order correct. No. So going into family brokerage, it was during the 2008, right? So it's the downtime. So I never knew there was like a good side to real estate. So I'm still Yeah. So we were an REO brokerage. So it was my job to be like first guy knocking on the door, changing locks, serving evictions, ordering the cleanouts, doing all that fun stuff. So I've seen now like a full cycle. So now like these last 2 years, it's complete night and day. So it wasn't until like 7 years in did I start moving down to Revere. So I came from the Merrimack Valley, moved down to Revere.
That's where the family brokerage was?
Yeah, in Methuen.
Nice.
So came down here. I love it. So I just think, the closer you get to Boston, the more opportunity there is. Came down here, had a great experience, start working with some investors, some of which encouraged me to open my own brokerage. So say 3 years ago, I opened up Broad Sound Real Estate, broker owner. I'm also a licensed general contractor. I'm also own a property management company, which another investor convinced me to do. So I'm a yes man, and that gets me in trouble.
Yeah.
So fast forward now, I have an awesome team of real estate agents, about 10 of us. We're in Revere, Massachusetts.
Climbing your way to the top of the ranks in Revere. Hopefully.
Just Revere. Don't worry, I won't be in the East Boston or Winthrop area, so you can relax. Put the knife away.
That's a funny story, not to cut you off.
But I will.
But I'm going to, yeah. How we reconnected is Nick sends out a lot of direct mail.
Yeah, I'm a dinosaur.
And back in the day, a couple years back, Nick was hustling, which I appreciate, came to one of my open house, which was in his neighborhood in Beachmont. Popped in, introduced himself, clean-cut guy, was just learning the inventory, which is what any hustling agent should do. Popping in, if you're not with a client, go try and find a client or go try and find the inventory, right? Learn the inventory.
So did he try to find a client at your open house?
No. He was just
handing out business cards.
No, it was great. Like Nick, it's funny. Nick and I have become pretty good friends over the last couple of years, or last year even, I think. And he always tells me how he doesn't actually want to sell real estate. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But he was just learning the inventory and said, hey, if you have other properties like this in this area, I'm looking to acquire. Just doing what a good agent and good investor would do. And, fast forward, I don't even know, a year or two later, I get some direct mail, but there was like 4 letters from Nick because he targeted a specific set of property. And so, like any family, like my wife leaves all the important mail on the counter. So I open it up and it's Nick. And I just text him. I was like, hey, I'll sell you this, but $2 million, whatever. He's like, F off, whatever. Right? And so we just started reconnecting kind of from there. So, and then you ended up with a ton of listings in Winthrop on multifamily from that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
From that same mailing?
Well, immediately thereafter, it felt like you got some pretty serious traction.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to marketing, not to go off the subject, but I think you got to do everything. So cold call, knock on doors, mailing, digital, all of it. And that quarter, I think I had a lot of success with the mailers.
Yeah.
Now it's really oversaturated. But I mean, how many mailers do you get a day? And I should start removing duplicates. So thank you for reminding me that I sent you 4.
That's probably going to cost you 52 cents.
I mean, they're getting expensive.
Might be more, yeah.
Oh, I don't know how much stamps are, but
But
So-
it's funny. We ended up connecting from either the direct mail, and then you picked up some good listings from that. And it's funny too because it's some of the same people that we were mailing, but you actually had a completely different approach that succeeded, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's tough. So also part of my little bio, I do try to invest in real estate. That's really my passion. So I really would just love to own a bunch of real estate. Kind of goes hand in hand. I think if you're an agent and you're not investing in real estate at the same time, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's what brought me to Revere. I mean, just coming.
Yeah, can we go back to that? So you're in Methuen.
I'm in Methuen. I owned at that time, like in college, I bought my first investment was a $65,000 condo in Lawrence. Then I went to like a.
What year was that again? 08, 09,
No,
06?
I think I graduated 11, so 2010.
That was an age test.
Jeez, my math is bad. My negotiation skills are better. So started with like the little condo in Lawrence, sold that, rolled it into like a 3-family in Methuen. I really had no idea what I was doing. I was just like kind of looking at the mortgage payment, kind of looking at rents. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Might make some money.
What
here.
could go wrong?
Yeah, well, I mean, fortunately, I had 10 years of appreciation to bail us out.
Yeah, no doubt.
We all look like rock stars.
Yeah, true.
So I bought a 3-family and then a 2-family in North Andover. Then like over time, like, man, I got to get out of the valley. So I wanted like new challenges. I wanted to do my own thing. And then I started thinking like all the opportunities in Boston. So I started coming, I want to be north of Boston because of course family, I want to be along 93. Price of everything. You know, I did not have much money then and arguably now because I keep buying.
Nick and I talk leverage a lot.
So yeah.
Over leverage.
Or lack of liquidity.
Yeah, that's a much more
That's a
eloquent
nice
way to
saying
put it.
broke. So I ended up in Revere, Beachmont, really cool area. And I've just been looking to kind of move all my money down this way. Money, quotes.
Investments.
Investments. So I got out of my Methuen 3-family, my North Andover 2-family, brought it down this way. And I just love being proximity to Boston. Don't overthink it. Just be close to Boston.
And how'd you come up with Broad Sound?
Broad Sound. So Broad Sound is actually a real estate agency that I inherited or kind of took over. It was inactive. My cousin over Finance Boston kind of encouraged me, gave me a little nudge. And that's how it all started. Yeah.
Broad Sound is also a waterway.
I'm aware of the waterway.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm overlooking Broad Sound.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not on the water. I can see the water. We're getting there.
So it's kind of a channel, but not really. So Karina, off to you, right? So that's why it's cool that you guys are together because I think there's some cool similarities between your investment journey. So kind of catch us up on you, who you are, how you got in the business, and then feel free to touch on some of your investments like Nick did.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in the industry for a little less. I've been in the industry for 5 years. I have been full-time for 3. So definitely, unlike you, I haven't seen a full cycle. I'm experiencing the first shift.
It's tough.
And it's interesting. I'll put it that way. I graduated from college and felt like I had to take a good job. And it was in commercial real estate, doing valuations for strip centers, office buildings, things of that nature. And I just remember looking around the office and there was nobody I wanted to be like. So I was like,
Cool.
I already had my license. I got it when I was a junior in college. And I figured, okay, well, let me try this. I had no idea if it was going to work out for me or not. And it worked out. Here I am. I primarily work with a ton of buyers, first-time home buyers on the buy side, investors, and then on the sales side, I do a lot with developers. I'm from East Boston, so I do a lot in this greater Boston area. And I bought my first property similar to Nick as soon as I could, and I've tried to just scale that. I have 12 doors so far, looking to obviously buy more.
And some are out of state, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so half of mine are in state, and those are the ones that I've house tagged, low down payment options. And then out of state, it's commercial deals, 20% down. And it just came down to capital. I don't have 20% down of a lot of the properties in this area. And the price and rent ratio in that market made sense. So
it's crazy how much more meat on the bone there are in out-of-state investments when you're trying to analyze stuff here, how tight it is, and how much more cash you need to acquire versus where are your units?
Augusta, Georgia.
Okay. And if you don't mind, kind of walk us through one of those deals.
Yeah, so for example, very different than a deal here, but a multifamily could be like 200 to 300,000. 20% of that is obviously a lot less than here. Your ROIs and your cash on cash is definitely above 10%. Your ROI can be 25 to 30%.
It's
Very
crazy.
different
Yeah.
than here. Your cap rates are near the 10% range, which, as you know, is very different than here.
Significant. And hopefully we'll probably challenge you guys just to break those down for the listeners out there, because we haven't talked
And
too
for
much.
me,
Because we haven't talked too much about cap rate, cash on cash return, and all that type of stuff. And that's why I thought it'd be really cool to have you guys on, because I think all of us would analyze a deal really differently. And it's funny, like I've seen Nick's spreadsheet. You probably being in the commercial background probably have much better spreadsheets than we do. But
It was part of the reason I left, honestly.
Really?
I hated being behind a computer all day, every day. It was not me.
so
Clearly.
did you work for like a pension fund? What do you mean?
It was a financial services company.
Yeah.
I was working for their real estate arm.
Okay.
oh, cool,
Very cool.
Yeah.
neat. So this is like we're awkward where we'll edit it. If you want to move that mic thing down, you won't have to like get all in your face.
Okay.
You won't have to
That's
like yeah, you're fine.
And
I'm trying to
also
fix- now
the
you got me insecure with my
right
posture.
about
so-
the posture and the hitting of the table.
Yeah,
Oh, am I
stop.
doing that a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the mic will pick it up.
It picks it
gotcha.
up.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We all did it the first
Yeah.
time. It's all good.
Sorry.
No,
No,
you're
you
fine.
didn't do
It's
it.
me.
It's
I'm the
Yeah,
problem.
Nick is the problem. Yeah.
What color is that sweater again?
Oatmeal. I'll go with oatmeal.
So you guys have both. How many doors are you owning now? 19.
19.
Yeah, cool. So, and similarly, I think I'm at 14-ish, kind of all in this area, and then an Airbnb in Florida. And I think it's really interesting. So, like, what do you think one of the biggest things when you're looking to acquire a property that you look at as like, if it does this, I'm going to try and buy it?
So one thing I look at, I just love value add. So
Yeah.
whatever I invest into, like I don't want my money stuck there. So I'm thinking, for instance, what I just closed on in October, I know it's a 4-family by right. It's a 5-unit. I know when I add that 5-unit, I'm going to probably have $200,000 in valuation. I can pull out my money.
And with a free property.
Yeah,
Free-ish.
exactly. So my whole thing is just like the property I live in now. It was a gutted out 3-family. I threw on an addition. I probably added 4 or 5 bedrooms. Added like 2,000 square feet in living space, and then the appraisal comes, and all of a sudden I can pull out everything I put into it. Not all of it. You know, the cliche burr.
So
Yeah.
it's a 3-family that you put an addition on. You make each unit bigger.
Of
So
course.
so instead of adding a unit, you just made like a 2-bedroom, 3 2-bedrooms into 3 3-bedrooms or something like that. Like you expanded the current unit count and made those more valuable.
So one of the properties I bought in Revere was a 3-1-1. So 3-bed, 1-bed, 1-bed. It is now a 4-2-3. So
Which sounds more valuable.
yeah, exactly. So and that's where you want to. I want to look at a property as an appraiser is going to look at the property. What do appraisers love, or how do they need it to comp out? Bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, right? You know, finishes don't really matter. My properties are really nice. I probably maybe over improve them, but that's the crown molding on your kitchen doesn't get you any valuation from an appraiser.
Yeah,
so
fair.
the whole thing throughout the process of buying, renovating, stabilizing, you're thinking of what is going to impress the appraiser at the end of the day. So for me, the way I added value, I finished the basement, put another bedroom down there. I added an addition off the top, added 3 bedrooms up there, and that's how I was able to pull all my money out and then buy another.
It's interesting, like if you think about, because I'm programmed so much in residential resale value, and you're so focused on this commercial appraisal value add opportunity. Like, so does crown molding and these fire finishes make someone buy faster, pay more money? Like we talked about this the other day at a specific property. Yes, they do, but on paper, to an appraisal, maybe not, right? So it's really interesting that you kind of make that point. I honestly haven't thought about that. And secondly, you probably also get to, this is the wrong word, but you get to kind of hack through zoning a little bit. It's a 3-family and you're just doing it in addition and you're adding space. You're not changing its primary use. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what so many people are focused on. And that's where you get caught. You know, where like you buy something that you can't do it to or get shut down in zoning or something. So that's
Or the
really
parking, you're not
Yeah.
changing the parking requirements.
I
Like
hear so many agents tell me I can add a unit in the basement, right? It's so bad, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, no, you can't.
Especially
Not
like,
legally.
Like
Right.
you can't. And then people buy property based on these assumptions that they can go, oh, you can do a third unit in the attic. No, look at the zoning. The zoning maps are from 1920. They don't like density. It's great. Like just
But
whatever
there are
fantasies you
changes
have,
on
get
the
them
horizon.
out.
Like we're starting to see some shift in that. Like I know
It's so
Salem is starting to do
so
like accessory
town-focused.
dwellings, and there's some changes.
'Cause I think Revere just did that. They're
Yeah. So
Right,
so
ADU.
credit to Revere. They finally did. They made ADUs legal, and don't hold me to this. Make sure you pull the ordinance and read it. But like it's something like
Brendan like
Disclaimer.
that.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. Brendan, can I say this?
Yes, you can.
So,
Keep going.
So
keep
like,
going.
So it's awesome because for so long, especially during the World War II or like the Great Depression, everyone was trying to offset their mortgage. Everyone was adding illegal basements, illegal units into their basement, and actually a lot of times it was like a nudge, wink. Don't worry about it. Like don't bother. And now, of course, all that is illegal wiring, illegal plumbing, and it's a liability on the city.
Mm-hmm.
So forever we were ripping out countless illegal units, and
especially in Revere.
well, yes, but I think Revere did a great job acknowledging that something has to be done. So they implemented this ordinance, which now allows accessory dwelling units, and you give an opportunity to legitimize them. Bring them up to fire code, or even add them. So if you're within a half mile of a T station, you don't even need parking. So now they're really looking at transit orientated density, which is what they should be doing. It's awesome.
And the state's coming in and layering over that with some statewide zoning relief related to transit. So the state is looking at overriding local zoning for transit-oriented zoning relief within a mile or half mile. I don't know the requirements off the top of my head.
I don't know anything about that, but you're like the third person to mention that in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
You think it's going to happen within 5 years?
I've heard about it as well. It's something that I've definitely talked to about with developers who are looking for new parcels. We've discussed looking particularly at transit-oriented areas. So I don't know that it's not happening. I definitely have heard of it.
I've heard it from some sources.
It's funny. I had a client walk into an open house and ask about it. And I was like, I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that.
So the state, I'm not politics, right? Are they going to gain votes by increasing density in certain neighborhoods?
Well, it's the only way to improve affordability, right? So our big problem right now is housing affordability. And if you were to look at what is making housing unaffordable, it is the zoning, density, and the sort of snob zoning that a lot of the towns and cities around here have, that they don't want multifamily, they don't want dense housing, and they don't want any of this stuff around. And in Massachusetts, there's so much power to the individual community to make their own zoning laws, right? So you can go from Revere to Winthrop and have an entirely different experience, or from Boston to Winthrop, or from Boston to Revere, because each municipality has complete control over how they do their zoning. And what we're finding is that it is making it incredibly difficult for developers to build anything, because they have to make 35% affordable at a 60% AMI, and then there's just no. I mean, these deals were tight before, and now we're making them even tighter.
Add in increased construction costs.
Yeah, and increased interest rates.
And a little bit of a market shift, it gets a little hairy.
Yeah. And the way to make a housing more affordable is to make more of it, right? So like at its core, the easiest way to make housing affordable is to just have lots of it. And if you build lots of big multifamily or condos, those other 3-family houses and those other things become, less in demand because there's more housing stock, right?
Sure.
So like they're getting eaten up so quickly because there's just no stock.
In short, I think the answer to your question is no.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
at least by town, right? But I in theory agree with everything Brendan said.
and the affordable issue it drives me nuts. So the idea that you can just stamp something like an affordable unit and like all of a sudden like a problem solved. No, like you said, Brendan, the problem is inventory. And the problem is we're basing things off a 1920 master plan. The problem is we have single family homes abutting transit stations, like a T station, and we just don't want to allow density. And the problem is when you stamp something affordable, it doesn't change the construction cost. you know what, that price, that loss to the contractor gets passed on to the market rate condos. So as you know, Karina, like we're dealing with a lot of first time home buyers. So say your condo, you're selling them $400,000 or $500,000. Now all of a sudden you have to add 10-15% to offset the affordable units in that building. Instead, we should be looking at increasing density, around transit, around the T stations, and allow for more inventory. As a landlord,
You love the T.
I love the T. Yes.
You love it.
Because we can't fit more cars on the roads anymore. I think.
Don't even get me started on that. So I think we need more ferries. Like Boston is so well positioned for water transportation.
Guy.
It is so much cheaper to add water transportation than it is. Look at how much money we just spent extending the Green Line, like 2 miles into Medford, right? It was like $2 billion. How about we spend $10 million and we get a couple boats and we go from Revere to Rose Wharf, right? Like $2 billion, $10 million. I don't know. I'm thinking that's a better return on investment.
We can talk about the Winthrop Ferry here in a little bit. I get some acumen.
Well,
right?
they.
I can't wait to talk
They
about
shut down Lynn.
ferries.
They tried Lynn's, right?
So
the ridership
good
always ends up being so
riddance
poor.
to Charlie Baker, who was adamantly opposed to the Lynn Ferry. We're hoping that in a new administration, we will get some ferry action.
This is by far our already most controversial podcast.
We're hitting all
Getting
sorts
political.
of
We're
third
talking
rails.
zoning.
Well, it's an important issue, I think, especially for commercial. Uh-oh, Nick, what are you going to say?
Oh, no. I feel like I want to talk to Karina.
Yeah, I know. Karina hasn't said anything about
Yeah,
zoning.
You guys are saying
she's
good
smart.
stuff.
She's smart.
No,
She
you
knows
guys are
she's
saying great stuff.
I know.
Well, the good news is no one
listens.
listens to this.
Yeah. We broke 100 listeners the other day.
I was wondering where the
That's
metrics
huge.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll push them over to you.
Thank you.
I don't even remember the question I asked you that
I
started
remember
that
the
entire.
question.
Okay, great. What was
which
it?
is, what do you look for in deals that you?
Oh yeah, there you go. How we ended up talking about the
Very
Lynn Ferry.
No, what I was gonna
Unreal. Yeah, hit it.
say is that I think actually having him and me on is a really good choice, because obviously I believe that forced appreciation is one of the better characteristics of real estate, but there's also this like stigma against buying turnkey properties or not doing the value add, because that's not it's sexy to do the work, or it's expected, or it'll give you a better return, but it also depends on your flexibility. When I basically looked at it this way: I have large amounts of capital I can invest, and I want to put all of my energy into my business. And in order to do that, for right now, which I don't expect to be the future, but for right now, the easiest next step for me is to buy a property that doesn't need work and that I can rent away and I can get cash flow from.
100%.
It doesn't mean that in the future I won't look to do value add as my primary source of acquiring properties. But my point is, you can still buy properties that are boring. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I think my first acquisition was a multifamily for primary residence. I sold that and bought another more turnkey primary residence multifamily, and owner occupied it, right? And because I saved the cash, essentially living there and getting paid to do so, house hacking it, right? Which I think we've all done, except for Brendan because he hates property. Just kidding. Then
I'm getting there. I'm almost converted.
Oh, nice, good. A couple more podcasts, we'll have you there.
Well, I need your school of like how to get in.
How to get free property?
Yes, that's the school I'm looking for.
Freeproperty.com. The opportunity, because I was in real estate, presented itself to purchase another multifamily. And I was lucky enough to have it be off market. And I actually convinced the seller to hold the note. So I successfully have pulled off a seller finance deal. And this was in 2016, I think it was. And it's funny because, I don't know where I read it, but I think it was actually a Bigger Pockets podcast back in the day. But it's just like, hey, stop saying like, hey, what's going on, man? How are you? No one gives a shit, right? Like, hey, my name's Seth. Good to see you again. Whatever. Like, hey, by the way, just so you know, I'm trying to buy more multifamily investments. If you know anyone who has creative financing, hook them up with me. So there was a tear that like for like 4 months, instead of being like, hey, Nick, what's up? I'd be like, hey, Nick, what's going on? By the way, I'm looking to buy more multifamily if you know anybody. And I need creative financing. And literally an agent called me. It was like, hey, when I saw you at the coffee shop the other day, I thought of you when I talked to, Joe Schmo. he needs to sell his multifamily. He's got money. He'll probably get something creative for you. And he put us in touch. I don't know why he didn't try and like take a vig on it or anything, but put us in touch. And I had to pay over market value, but the guy financed the deal. And then raised the rents, held it for like 18 months, had some protection with the financing in terms of terms and, safety, and just cashed them out. And that's Myrtle. You know what I mean? It's a great piece of property for me. So, and then you get into these, primary residence hacks that you can do for a while. So it's funny. I look at value add personally as well. However, back in the day, my criteria was like, I just want to make $2,000 a month on this piece of property. Like that was like my mantra. If I can clear $2,000, because all I was focused with was replacing the biweekly paycheck. I was like, if I can get enough of these and replace enough paychecks, I can be in real estate.
How funny is it though when you say clear $2,000? I bet, like I didn't. Did you factor in vacancy, repairs and maintenance, property management?
So back in the day,
I cleared $2,000 all the time, but for some reason I had no money in my pocket.
So back in the day, I had this like what I've since renamed my best case property forecaster, and it was like super optimistic. It was just like rents, what was the cap rate, what could I pay for the property. It was like really elementary reserves and repairs, like super. It was like
at least you had them.
It was nothing, and I would literally, it would trigger me to go look at property. So I was analyzing so many freaking deals, and I was like, this could make me $2,000 and some I had to fix the rents on, And now I still have that spreadsheet. I also have like the real spreadsheet of like, oh, this thing doesn't really make any money. I'm going to have to fix it. But if you plug it into the best case spreadsheet, man, that thing is freaking killing it. But it's a nice to have, like, it could be this or it could be this. Mm-hmm. And as long as you're comfortable with that, you can proceed.
What do you use for a spreadsheet, Karina?
I have a spreadsheet that I got from my brokerage, and it's pretty accurate, and it has all the expenses that you would expect, and it's just a matter of accounting for them. And I have seen the difference of when I didn't account for things properly, and mostly what you underestimate is. My vacancy is none because I'm really good at that because I'm an agent. But what we usually underestimate is OPEX or CAPEX. And I've definitely learned my lesson there. I would say all my properties cash flow pretty well though.
And how did you end up in Augusta?
Yeah, so
dartboard, like I'm going to...
No. There's definitely a lot of markets where it makes sense to invest out of state, but I joined a mastermind. I went to a retreat. I was around a lot of investors. I happened to meet one that was a property manager in Augusta who also was an investor. And we connected. He's a really good source of deals for me. And when I think about, or the advice that I give to people when I'm thinking about investing out of state isn't trying to find the property that makes the most sense. I mean, the market, but finding the market where it's the easiest to find deals. And sometimes that might just be through a connection. But that's how I ended up there. I haven't been there yet. So
how long have you owned this property?
I own 4 properties, 6 doors there. I acquired them last year and I haven't been. So
awesome. That doesn't sound terrible. Yeah. But your friend from your mastermind's a property manager?
He is. He manages my properties now. Yeah,
of course he does. Yeah. Smart.
That's pretty cool.
I like that.
Did you buy him? So you bought him sight unseen?
Oh, yeah, but I had inspection reports.
Yeah, cool.
FaceTime, Seth. FaceTime.
Hey, listen, exactly. That's how we bought Florida. I remember vividly the day we pulled up. I was like, Jen recorded me, and I was like, I hope this isn't a shithole. I hope this isn't a shithole. I hope this is.
I do a little bit of Google Maps as well.
Yeah, we're walking the streets.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why the person whoever your team is in that market is really important. I trust that my property manager. And it's because he was sourcing the deals, but he knew he was going to manage them. He couldn't tell me, hey, rents are going to be, he couldn't tell me they were going to be double and give me half, right? So he's been very good when it comes to the numbers, and that's why I keep working with him.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. If you have a team there and a property manager you trust, that's awesome.
You're all in state. You're probably all in Revere.
All walking distance. So I have like this. So there's no like right way of investing, right? I think what is the saying? 100 ways to skin a cat or whatever. But for me, I was burnt out from being spread between the Merrimack Valley and then Revere, Winthrop area. So I was just sick of being in 93 and in my car. And one of my many flaws is like I'm a little bit of a control freak. So like you tell me there's a property manager in Georgia, I'll be like, I don't trust him. So I just want to be like really hands-on. And so my mentality, like not that my neighborhood is the best market, it's just the convenience, the efficiency. Like I drove 10 minutes to one of my sites today that I'm renovating. And I was like, shit, I just lost 30 minutes. You know, like, because like you said, you want to focus all your time on sales and your work. 30 minutes is a big chunk of the day.
Yeah.
So I think there's a ton of value to convenience. And a lot of times that's portrayed as laziness. It's not. It's I want to be.
It's efficiency.
It's efficiency.
Yeah.
And that's everything I want to do for next year. I spent way too much time wasting on 93, driving, changing sinks, or just doing one thing or the other. And now it's all about efficiency. If I want to grow.
So because you own a property management company, you're managing all your own properties here.
Okay. Yeah. So owning a property management company may be an embellishment. You're looking at like 75% of it. But yes.
You get a couple of tradespeople that work for you.
Yes.
And
so I have a couple
doors.
guys full time, and my subcontractors are awesome, always available. And that's why I think it's.
Are you available for Karina if she needed a new property manager?
Great question.
I mean, maybe we can make marriages here.
So first of all, again, my cousin, Finance Boston, shout out.
Who's your cousin?
Fergal Woods. He's awesome. He's a great guy.
Okay.
So he was purchasing a property through me, and I think maybe the numbers were a little slim. Maybe he was playing.
Are you going
I don't
on
know,
Friday
but he's
night?
like, "What's that?" Yes, I will be there. I think it's Thursday, but
Oh, shit.
maybe
No-
it's 2. Maybe
no
at the
invite.
important meeting.
Yeah.
So he
missing the
said,
memo.
Nick, I'll buy it, but I want you to manage it. I'm like, damn it.
Oh, is this Easty?
Yeah, Easty. I was like, oh man. But again, with one of my major flaws being a control freak, I want to make sure it's a good investment too. So I want to make sure that whatever my investors buy, that they do what I say they're going to do, and some. I love when I overpromise. So I took it on.
Overpromise or underpromise?
I want to underpromise, overdeliver.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No,
Seth is loving it. Seth's like, yeah. Nick
This is the
overpromises.
least. This is the least I've talked on a podcast yet.
No, it's not.
I gotta stop. But anyways, so long story short, yes, I am a small property manager. I just agreed to take on 6 more doors in April, and most likely I'm going to take on 3 doors for one of my investors.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Not what I wanted to do.
And how do you handle property management, Karina?
So I love having a property manager out of state. I wouldn't even think about doing it myself. The in-state I do manage myself, and that's because of the ease of it. It's as easy as having a lockbox and a contact, right? Because I'm not doing any of the work. I'm not changing any sinks or anything of that
Same.
nature. But I do have somebody on speed dial, and I don't mind that. I think at this scale, I can. When I have much more units, which is the goal, I probably will have to maybe work with Nick.
So
Seems like a good choice.
well, so here's the benefit to like having a small property management company. It allows for you to take on more overhead. So my problem was, say when I had like only 3 or 4 properties, it wasn't enough to justify taking on employees. Within the last 2 purchases, I just took on 2 guys just about full time. And it's made my life so much easier. And I want to make sure they're busy and they have work. So so taking on some management allows me to make sure they're full time and always busy and they don't go somewhere else. So
Smart.
yeah.
Very smart.
Well, thanks for all the property management dialogue. That was really cool. I know that Brendan, you had a couple questions as it relates to.
I'm dying to ask. So you know, the lawyer in me wants to know how you guys hold all this stuff, right? So, Karina, I hear you have property in Massachusetts and in Georgia, so we have like multiple states. So if anything happens, that's complex. And you, Nick, have a whole bunch of property. So I'm interested, like, what kind of entities, or do you own these things personally? How do you have it structured, Karina?
So I own my out-of-state portfolio under an LLC, and then I have the properties in state under my personal name so far. At some point, I'll probably quit claim them into an LLC.
Okay. And what was your sort of why did you choose that structure, or how did you fall into this structure?
Of the LLC?
Or both, or not doing an LLC in Massachusetts? Like, what was your...
That was purely because of financing.
Okay.
So I bought...
Damn banks.
I bought 3 families with the FHA loans, conventional loans, and that required it to be under my personal name. And likewise, when I was doing commercial financing, they required me to
LLC.
be an LLC. Yeah.
Did they require you to do it in state too, or no?
Nope,
They didn't
it
care?
wasn't a requirement, but I've heard that that's the right way to do it.
Can you confirm that's the right way to do it?
It's dependent on each circumstances, Seth. Like every individual has their own
Such a lawyer.
Set of circumstances that would make the tailored plan to them unique to their circumstances.
Sales pitch.
Yeah. Nick, what about you?
So I have a mix. So between the wrong answer.
No, there's no wrong answers here.
So some is under my personal name. I have one in a real estate trust. I have one in an LLC, which again, my bank obviously encourages commercial loan. But I'm curious to hear what you suggest.
So we go back and forth in our office on this quite a bit. My recommended path is I like realty trusts. I like realty trusts that then hire a property management company. So you would do an LLC to collect the rents, pay the mortgages, sort of be the one entity that all the realty trusts sort of hire as their management company. And then each one is sort of compartmentalized by its own trust. And then you're the beneficiary of it. So for individual financing, most banks will let you finance it as a realty trust, which you're the beneficiary of. So there's no problem with your financing there. And then liability, my opinion is always that the best option is lots of insurance, right? So where people get in trouble is when they're bad landlords and they don't have enough insurance. So if you can, and it sounds like you're already a good landlord, right? Like you're maybe haven't been to any of your properties, but based on what you're saying,
we're actually
I'm
breaking
guessing,
at 6. We're going to do some drive-bys.
Oh, good. We're doing tours. I mean, depending on what you're looking to do will guide you where you want to go, right? So and usually we bring in accountants and talk to your accountant about what the right structure is and how you're managing your properties has a big play into it as well. But for the most part, we're looking at people that are worried about, passing assets on to their family, how they're going to do that in the easiest way. And, from my perspective, so what you're talking about, Seth, are revocable, meaning the person that created the trust can kill the trust or end it. So how I like to explain to people is you're setting up an entity. It's like any other entity, and it owns property. You're the manager of the entity that owns the property, and it's not you as an individual. It's you as the sort of manager of this entity. In these entities, we happen to call you a trustee instead of a manager or a officer,
partner, director.
It's they're all sort of essentially the same. The trust, however, because you retain the power to amend and revoke it, typically, if you get sued, it is your asset, right? So in the trust world, the only way to really hide or not hide, but to protect your interest is to give it irrevocably away so that you no longer have an interest, right? So that's how you get around credit protection, is to put it in to the trust irrevocably so that you no longer have an interest in it and you can't change the outcome. So once you've given up that right, you then, have that protection. So for a lot of people, that's not the right option. So a lot of banks, and I think we talked about this when we were talking about leverage, if you can show on the schedule of beneficiaries, which is not recorded anywhere, it's private, so no one really knows that. If you can show that you, the person applying for the credit, are the beneficiary, most banks will let you do the loan in the trust. So celebrities will sometimes buy houses in this manner. They'll name the lawyers as the trustees. So the giveaway on a lot of the trusts we do are that the people that owned the property before are the trustees of the trust. It's kind of a giveaway. So if it's the 281 Main Street Trust and Nick owned it before and now Nick's the trustee of that trust, guess what? Nick probably owns it, but we can't confirm or not or deny that. So sometimes you'll see, sometimes I'll go on neighborhoods in Brookline or Wellesley or Weston and be like, oh, what's going on here? And, you'll see that Goulston and Storrs is the trustee of the trust. And it's a very obscure name up to the trustee. So that whoever owns that's hiding that they own it. Right. So that's one way to do it. And you were talking about with the LLC. So if you go on the registry of deeds and you find the property and you're like, oh, it's owned by an LLC. And then you flip over to the Secretary of State's Corporations Division and you start looking at who the officers of the LLC are. If you start seeing Ropes and Gray or some big law firm or accounting firm, that somebody's trying to hide who really owns this.
But I think technically, other than the one-time cost of the estate planning, and probably having ancillary death benefits and whatnot, right, and legacy family stuff, right, then eventually you eliminate the recurring annual report costs of the LLC.
In
right?
time.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously there's a one-time cost, is what it is. I'm sure it's tax deductible, not an accountant.
Portions of it.
Yeah, right. And then, some of us, if we're all rocking multiple LLCs, especially business related, or if you're taking your commission in S corp, however you're handling it, it gets expensive. You're spending all this, between tax preparation and LLC fees, so to speak. So probably a long-term benefit for sure.
I like to think so, but disclaimer: this is not legal advice to anybody out there. Like, we're just talking about certain people's situations, and everybody's situation is different, right? So, like, how you're treating the income currently, maybe we may have a different approach if you're doing something that is different than how you're doing it. So, like, all of it is based on how you're bringing in that income.
Yeah. Is it cool if we pivot to residential real estate for a bit?
Let's do it.
So,
because you both do resi too, right?
We do.
Yeah. Nick will tell you that he doesn't want to. I'm gonna keep. I ride.
This is
I
a
feel
marketing
like he is
tactic by
slandering
Seth.
you,
No
right?
shit.
Like,
Say
he's
it,
just
Nick.
trying to
Just
grow
say you
market
do-
share.
Say,
He's like,
say
no,
you want
it's-
your agents to come to me. Say it. Say it.
I am interested. What are you looking to grow into?
Okay, so my passion, as any agent should be in real estate, is to own real estate.
Yeah.
That's where the real wealth is. It scares the shit out of me to be dependent on commission checks. Like, everyone's talking about like a big bonus, a commission check. That's gone. That's out. That's one renovation.
Yeah.
And as we're seeing now in this shift, people who didn't plan for this shift are in deep water. Hot
or
water, whatever.
bartending.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
Yeah.
I want the protection. I want to be able to sleep at night, and I just know generational wealth is through owning real estate, and that's why our brokerage has turned into like kind of an investment focus.
firm. Yeah,
because
it's cool. It's
you
a cool
attract
story.
like-minded people.
Yeah.
So in all my agents, and I never once asked one of them to kind of broad sound, but they kind of follow suit. They see what I'm doing. I meet them at an open house, or they knock on a renovation. They love what I'm doing. And
You should start a church.
just say it. Say broad sound.
No, it's okay. So like,
Can you just play that softly in the background for the
over
listeners?
and over and over.
So my goal. for
reference real estate now hiring. Yeah.
So one of my goals for all my agents next year is every one of them buy a multifamily.
That's
I
dope.
love that.
Yeah, like
That's a great
I love
goal.
that.
And so all of our sales meetings are actually kind of geared towards helping the agents invest
That's
in
so cool.
underwriting deals. We did one meeting on just zoning, development opportunity. We did another one with Finance Boston. Brian Rooney came in.
Did you invite Dan Cahill? He's a good zoning lawyer.
Dan's a real good guy. That's a great idea. Dan,
yeah.
you just got invited to our next week Tuesday.
He's unavailable.
9 a.m. Yeah. So
You have to book that 3 weeks out, though.
Yeah.
if we're actively investing in real estate, how much better can we help our clients? So when I say I don't want
Hot
to sell
take.
real estate, right? So no, that's how. Are
I
you
agree
going to
with
let a non-investing real estate agent guide you?
No.
How many people in our market, how many quote investors purchase something because the real estate agent says it's a good deal? This is going to go quick. It's a good deal. It's 3 units. You could probably add another one in the basement. No, but really, like because we're looking at deals for ourselves, and I love when the client goes, "Why do I want to work with you? Like you're going to buy if it's a good deal." Really, I own 5 buildings. If I bought every good one that came across my table, I'd own 300. Like,
I'm running out of loan
like,
officers that are going to give me the money.
I have no money. So I assure you, I am not buying one this month or next month or maybe the one after that. So as an agents, if we all looking at investment properties for our own wealth, our own future, our own families, like we can just pass that knowledge on to our clients. And that's kind of where Broad Sound Real Estate's heading.
Yeah, and I love it. I know I'm breaking your balls a little bit about it, but like very similarly, again, and I've shared this before, I ended up in real estate because I wanted to invest. And I just went through the retail motions of finding an agent, and I knew more and I knew nothing. And it was
Not a good sign.
It was unacceptable. And I'm like, this epiphany I had. I'm teaching sales strategy for a Fortune 500 company in multi-states with 4,000 employees, and I'm like, how does this realtor not know anything about multifamily? I'm trying to make the biggest decision financially in my life, and you're treating it like it's 7-Eleven. It's like it's not cool. That's how I ended up here, and I just
Did
migrated.
you get a Slurpee with that?
I didn't get anything with that because strangely the agent blew me off, didn't show up to the appointment, and I stood there for an hour and a half waiting for them to come turn the key. Unreal stuff, and I'm like, screw this. I guess I could be a realtor, right? And here we are. Obviously, there's a lot of chapters to that book, but
I just realized I ran away from the residential question and like right into like the commercial investing, because that's just what I do. Like you follow your like you can't BS. Like you
It's
know?
clear you love
Yeah.
residential.
So well, I mean, all right. The way I explain it to my agents as well, like home, you buy someone their dream home, which is exciting. I love seeing like the joy it brings, but like you're waiting for them to outgrow it, relocate, whatever, like a major life change.
Yeah.
You buy you represent a client on like a massive, like a really heavy cash flowing investment property. They're calling you in 6 months. I'm like, Nick, let's do this again. They're going to get addicted. Real estate is addicting.
truth. Yeah, they transact. I don't know what the stat is, but it's 3 or 4 times more often than a regular residential client who really is not selling for 5 to 8 years, or death, divorce, diamonds, diapers, yada yada.
Yeah, it's a flower shop. It's either like exciting or like sad stuff they come in for.
You should use that.
I know. I like that.
So tell us a little bit more about your residential, career, and really, I just want to talk a lot about like what's happening in the market. I'd love your opinions on kind of what's happening in the shift that we've all kind of referenced. So tell us a little bit more about what's it been like, in this last few years full time, and kind of your the peaks and valleys of that, and then let's just talk about the market.
I mean, for me, I don't hate working with your residential clients. I've worked, it's how I built my business.
Can we back up? I'm so
okay.
appreciative
We're gonna
of
say-
all my clients.
In the show notes,
Damn,
we're going to be
you guys
like,
are brutal. Nick hates his clients.
I think that Nick.
it's actually a
loves his
website.
clients.
It's nickhatesresidentialrealestate.com. That's the Broadstown's website. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. We're going to edit it out. I swear to God.
No, it's fine.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. We're not going to. But so Karina
And
doesn't
then
hate
Seth's going to
residential.
email it to all your
Yeah,
agents.
email blast everywhere. MailChimp.
So I built my business primarily at the beginning working with first-time home buyers, and there was a big educational piece that went along with that. And it's kind of where I realized, I have a passion for this. Like I'm good at it, but 2, there's a passion behind it. I resonated with the people that I was helping. I was sometimes helping people buy their first house who were first generation American. Like I was helping people that looked like my parents. For me, there was this,
It's awesome.
there's sense of gratification that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. But recently I've done a lot of work with developers and development, and I think that space is very exciting. It's definitely where I want to lean towards and because I am passionate about real estate as a means to create wealth, I love working with investors as well. But I love passing that mindset on to people that don't think that way. A lot of my first-time home buyers, they came to me to buy, looking to buy their first home. They didn't come to looking to buy their second or their third, but through working with me and through the mindset and the discussions, they're like, all right, let's, a year later, they want to buy something else. They want to house hack again. And I love being like a source of that.
How do you make that happen?
Make what happen?
How do you take someone's mindset? This is a heavy question. Like from, I'm buying a condo, I want my dream home, which is usually how some of those first interactions begin, or they see a property you've listed, whatever it is, and then next thing you know, you're talking about this goal-oriented, long-term wealth. Like it's such a transition. You know what I mean? It's not easy.
I think it goes back to what Nick said. Like when you're about it, when you put your money where your mouth is, I'm just telling them about myself. I'm not telling them that they have to do X, Y, and Z. I'm telling them what I believe in, what I'm living, and they get excited, they get inspired, they see it, it's happening. It's not like I'm saying, hey, you should really invest in real estate. I'm saying, hey, I did this, I did that. This is what I'm doing. These are my goals. I want that for you, and they get excited about themselves. Thinking
that's really cool.
So is that a conversation you have with all of your clients, or does it just when it comes up naturally? Like how does that look?
I think it's organic more so than I don't think I make an intention to say I'm going to turn this person into a fanatic. There's some people that they just want to buy their luxury condo and live there for the next 3 to 5 years, and that's fine too. Mm-hmm. But with our relationship, they will get to learn about me and what I do, and it comes up naturally in conversation.
And I'm
about
sure
what our
you
goals
probably
are.
figure it out real quickly, like if they're somebody who probably has the appetite and desire, but just based on their questions.
Correct, 100%.
I push it all the time.
Do you?
So whenever there's a first time home buyer, because I love it. Like I'm not like I think it's the best way to go. So many of us aren't going to make like crazy figure salaries. So how can we generate wealth to put us in an awesome position to play with our kids when we're older, you know, and not work these crazy hours we're doing it. If I have a first time home buyer, I'm like, listen, it's 3% down for a single family or it's 3% down for a triple. You can do the step down FHA. Like put yourself in a really good position for the future. And a lot of people push back. Some people feed into it. I had one friend, he's a close friend of mine. And he's
I don't want to be a landlord, Nick.
Can you stop sending us multis? But no, I swear to God, 5 years later, Nick, why didn't you get us into a multi? I'm like, are you shitting me? Like,
You're like,
I've been
I saved this email.
because trying to go backwards is so hard.
It is very hard.
Yeah.
But buying your single family home, one, you're probably going to be house broke because everyone wants the nicest thing they can afford. And two, now on top of being house broke, you're trying to put aside like 20% for a down payment. Forget it. You're in that house.
Yeah.
Like until you get like a huge salary paying corporate position, which most of us won't get.
Yep. Or you come into money, or you get married, and now something else, some other substantial life event changes, and then in reality, who's selling their single family in that life event and trading into a multi?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah. And the
Very few percentage.
And I'm not saying like I have this big portfolio, but I'm very happy where I am, you know, and a lot of that came from just appreciation and equity. I did 2 1031s last year. So I sold the 2 family, I sold the 3 family, rolled it into better assets, more doors. That was not commission checks. My commission checks, you know, go towards renovations, go towards lifestyle, whatever. I still live in a 3 family. Trips, I'm going to Ecuador on Christmas.
Yeah. Feliz Navidad.
There's no way I'm buying these properties unless I bought early on, started in a condo to triple decker, you know what I mean? And that's where the money is. You don't have to go and just take the highest paying salary out there. You can do what you love.
Yeah, that's cool.
Why don't they teach this in school?
It's
For a reason. They need people to work. It's all I have.
I like that.
I hate it.
I
feel strongly about it.
I agree with you. I mean,
I might homeschool my kids. I know that's another conversation,
school.
but
Trade
I
school.
might.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. We haven't spent too much time thinking about it, but like I know that we're going to be really purposeful about teaching our children about money, about credit. You know, because like I don't know about you guys. I was 18. I could get a credit card. I got that shit. I didn't pay it. You know what I mean? I didn't know. I had no clue, man.
Bottles.
You know, so like, you know,
was it,
let's go.
Royale?
You know, that's pulling out ATM money for $15 fees at Foxwoods. You know, and like, oh, whatever, it's not mine. You know, and just like, oh, I forgot to pay it. Like, I didn't know.
Dude,
you know,
now I wouldn't even bet $100 on a football game. No, like I'm just like, oh shit, I worked too hard for
So
that.
you're not going to go to the other side of Route 99 when they open the sports betting and the music venue?
But to Seth's point, when I was younger, like
Unaware.
I was fearless.
unaware.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me that like I just know I won't do that to our kids. You know what I mean? Like they gotta know about finance, about credit. You know, they gotta know about student debt, which is a slippery slope that I
Don't do it.
We could have a whole other podcast on that shit, man. But you know, they just gotta know. And hopefully we're in a position with the real estate where we'll be able to, you know, provide them with assets they need, you know? So one of the properties we bought in the last year, like we put in an LLC, which isn't a trust yet. We're going to talk about that.
We're going to update the operating agreement.
And it's literally, we bought it. It's like for my daughter, you know, so 18,
That's so cool.
18, 20 years from now, like, here you go, dude.
You know what that
Almost paid
sounds?
off.
You know what that sounds like, Seth? That sounds like you need another one for.
We're in it, dude.
Yeah.
We're in it, dude.
Oh, this is for baby number 2.
I mean, maybe we'll find out.
Oh,
We'll
I
find
mean,
out,
I'd
guess.
be jealous if I was number 2 and number 1 got the LLC. I'm just saying.
Technically, this is in that same LLC, which you're
Oh, so-
definitely not supposed to do. So let's change the subject.
Yeah, we're gonna move right on. So I what I thought was really interesting is, Karina, you brought up that your relationship that you developed in your mastermind helped you sort of look at Augusta, Georgia. It helped you sort of build a relationship there, find a property manager, find somebody with deals in that market. Tell us a little bit about your experiences with masterminds, because I think they're awesome. And I'm, in 2023, like being part of masterminds is something
it's a good call.
that I'm really pushing myself to do.
For me, I feel like it was monumental. Obviously, I read the Bigger Pockets podcast, the forums. I think that's what a lot of us that are in the industry did. But I having conversations with people that were the conversations were at a much higher level. Let's just put it that way. And the confidence they were portraying with their words onto me is something that I hadn't experienced coming from the background that I have. Like, my parents aren't educated. We didn't talk about financing at home. For them, a lot of my dreams are dreams. Now, I think the mindset is shifting, but putting myself in those masterminds, I had people who were worth way more than I ever thought I would be at some point, but they were telling me, no, you're going to do X, Y, and Z because you're already doing this and that. So for me, networking has been really important. I've learned a lot about things that I probably I wouldn't have done a cost seg yet if I hadn't been in a mastermind where they talked about it. And I was like, oh, I can do that. I can save on taxes. I can connect with this CPA. And so forth. So I think that they're very valuable. And I think in a way, like, this is a form of masterminding.
100%.
100%.
I agree. That's really cool. I'm going to have to pick your brain on cost segregation.
Yeah. So how did you end up in a, it sounds like national mastermind, right? So this mastermind, if someone was from Augusta and you're in Boston.
Yeah. So it honestly happened to be hosted by one of the hosts of the Bigger Pockets Rookie podcast. He started his own thing and I connected with him and I ended up in the mastermind. But the cool thing is that a lot of people ended up forming partnerships. People who had 0 doors, I have 60 doors together now. It's wild stuff. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity there for sure.
Cool. Nick, do you do any masterminds or anything like that to like?
No, but I want to add to the list. But I do a lot of networking. I mean,
you do.
How I got to know Seth. Actually, Seth, you forgot. The first time we met was from an email. I went back a year of every listing agent that sold a multifamily in the area, and I emailed them and say, hey, would love for you to represent me off market. And you got back to me, and we talked a little bit, a couple of emails, and then you got one of my mailers. And then you're like, all right, let's get a coffee. Yeah. So networking is huge. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Bounce some ideas off each other, grow from like what we're doing right now. Like you said, it's awesome.
So this is something that Seth and I talk about a lot, right? Like surrounding yourself with people that are pushing you to be better, right? So, have you guys experienced, and you guys are a little younger than me, like your friend group changing and your life changing based on where you are now and how much you work and, sort of wanting to be around those people that are achieving the things you want to achieve. Have you either of you noticed that?
Oh, 100%. I think knowing that some people in my life have to spend less time with me is a little difficult to implement. It's easier when you know, like, okay, I need to spend less time with this person. It's harder to implement that. But the mastermind has been a space where I can connect with people that are similar, like-minded, and I think that only pushes me to reach my goals quicker.
Yeah, I actually want to make a point to try to make more time for people outside the industry. I think, a lot of my friends just hate listening to me talk about real estate. So, but
self-selected.
Yeah, so I do have to, but I do understand when I don't want to say like outgrow people, but you do have different mindsets and you have less and less in common. So how far can the conversations go and carry on?
And sometimes it's like the backhanded comments, right? Like,
it must be nice.
Yeah. Your friends say things and you're like, oh, wow, they think different of me than I thought of myself. And you're like, wow.
My biggest thing that's happened is like, dude, time is money. And like, I don't know what you guys are doing this weekend. I'm sure there's plenty of Christmas parties to go to. I ain't going to them. You know what I mean? I got open houses to run.
Or the worst is when you do go to all of them and you're still trying to work as many hours you're doing and you're just waking up and you're just like wiped.
Yeah.
You don't want to do
anything. This is just, truly, other than, I know you're going away for a couple of weeks. Like I was just away for a couple of weeks, still working, right? But like, that's your vacation, like for real. Like that's it. And that's it for the year. Like, so, even in those moments, you're still working constantly and it's not, might be a physical break in the sense that you like might not have to physically go as many places, but if you don't take that time, man, you're not going to get it. That's what I think is most interesting, and I think that's the hardest part that I think friends don't get.
And that's again one of what feeds the passion for owning real estate. That
way out
passive income allows you freedom. What I've been doing for 14 years of sales is not sustainable. So I really hope it's 5 years of sales. So another goal for next year, this is all fresh in my mind because one of our sales meetings was short-term goals, long-term goals. One of them is for me to become more of a referral broker, refer out clients, refer out leads, and stop chasing them myself, which allows me to focus more on being a good broker, managing people, managing assets, stabilizing properties, and all that good stuff. So trying to do this all at once, it's just going to burn you out, as it's currently doing.
Yeah, 100%. So let's just talk a little bit about the market. Like, what do you guys think is going on? I know I didn't even look at the Fed notes today, but yesterday inflation data broke. It was better than anticipated, so we saw some downward pressure on rates again. Fed go up 50.
I still went up half a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. And
I guess
a lot of people don't get it, but that doesn't change mortgage rates. They were already adjusted for that, and so it's going to hinge a lot more on his comments, which unfortunately I didn't get the opportunity to read today. But
I haven't read them yet either.
I think he said that they're still going to be aggressive with the rate hikes. They're not going to stop.
Yeah. So in reality, you'll probably just see rates stay at this maybe high 5, this low 6-ish range where we're in right now, and hopefully that will. I think the volatility has been better for the last 2 months than it has the previous 4 or 5. But I would just love your take on what's happened to value. That could be a percentage conversation. What's going on with rates long term? What's your take? How has it really affected the buyer? Like, let's just talk about that, because I feel like as a listing agent right now, pricing property is really hard. And from an inventory standpoint, man, it's not a buyer's market. But
that's the crazy part.
But man, it feels like a buyer's market, right? So
yeah.
Let's just talk about that. I would love your individual takes on, and we're all kind of like in this Venn diagram of communities where we're overlap but have our own expertise, right? So I don't know who wants to. Karina, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. So there's definitely been a shift. We all feel it.
Yeah.
Buyers are taking their time. But that interesting piece is that we are still in a seller's market, and you are seeing, you just had a weekend open house and you had to go that first weekend. So you're still seeing some of that. I think if the pressure of interest rates continues to go up, there has to be a downward pressure on price. It's just kind of how they work. I've heard people throw around numbers like 10 to 15% decrease in values. I don't think I haven't noticed that yet. I think that's to be seen if it happens. Inventory is definitely creeping up, but
especially in East Boston.
Yeah. So I just think there's going to be longer days on market.
Yeah.
There's going to be less activity in general, as we all know, and I hope property values remain stable. I think in Boston we're kind of insulated for many reasons that we're aware of, but. I think that there's still going to be a healthy amount of activity next year. Yeah,
I would tend to agree with you. I think it's very interesting. Inventory is so different by town, and the demand is so different by town that I really don't know what's going to happen with price. I've kind of shared that before. Like, I think the good news is a 10-15% decrease in value. I mean, do you know where statistically that even brings us back to?
Is it like, would we still be up like 20%?
Just last summer.
I mean,
so
that's amazing.
When sellers get all depressed, I'm like, you're upset that we're going to sell at 2021 numbers? Like, come on, no one sells at the peak.
Yeah.
But so here's this pisses me off, right? So like, unless they bought in 2021, like what are we basing the decrease in value on, right? Like, because their neighbor sold their house, or
that's
their
exactly
value.
What I was going to say.
Like their value has gone up if they bought that house in 1978.
That is it. It's so much. I live next to Nick. Nick sold last year. My house is better than Nick's. It should sell for more money, and it's your job to get it done. And then when it doesn't sell in 3 days and there's not 19 cars out front, they're upset.
What I do is I'll literally take out the mortgage calculator and run. Like we just,
Yeah,
I
you're
just
smart
did this
to do
one,
that.
my newest listing, right? I priced it last year at like say 800. So I said last year we were looking at like 3.5, 4% interest rate. Here it is. Here's your monthly payment. And now you're expecting that same buyer to pay 800 now. Here it is. And it's like $1,000 more. So the shift we've seen, I think I've seen 10% in my opinion,
Yeah.
what I've been seeing, 10, 15%, but it's a shift we needed. It's if it wasn't costing the consumer more money, I'd say it was good. It's unfortunate that consumers, first time home buyers especially, are just getting smoked. But
Yeah.
that market was just insane. It was like too
Agreed.
easy. Like all the lenders and realtors who jumped into the market and
Killed it.
yeah. So, and I think what's going to help us is just our market being in Massachusetts, being near Boston. We aren't going to increase density. We are not going to increase inventory. So, and if you look at 2008, what happened during that cycle, Boston really held their values a lot better than the rest of the country.
Yeah. And although it's completely different, we have so much tailwind in our favor, specifically with Suffolk Downs long term. I think that, anyone who sees a larger dip, I think the investors will be here so fast to snatch that up. And we're lucky, by the way, outside of, there's a lot of different parts of the country where institutional investors are snatching anything they can get. And I feel like that's just not here, which is interesting. And I think that's all based off price
point.
But the appreciation has been so crazy here that I'm shocked it hasn't happened.
And it's not landlord friendly.
True.
I think a
Yeah.
lot.
True.
Who would want to invest in Massachusetts if you
True.
could pick any? Why not?
If it takes you a year to get a
Oh my
tenant out, I
God.
mean, it's
Yeah,
So
it kills all those gains,
everything that we complain about is why our values will hold. Like short of rent control, everything is in the landlord's
Don't even
fa-
say those words.
No, I know. Please, I'll stop improving my properties. I'm putting it out there now.
another conversation.
Yeah.
So you guys are we're gonna have to do this again because there's
God.
too much content. So Reviere's still really holding its value. What do you think is fueling that?
Well, it's like I think it has. I love emerging markets, right? And I think Revere's beyond it, calling it an emerging market. Like Chelsea, absolutely love proximity to Boston. Without being in Boston, where are you going to go? It's just a numbers game.
Yeah.
So and you look at cap rates, you look at return. Eastie's a little chaotic. I kind of again everything I say makes me sound lazy, right? Where is it quieter? Like, yeah, I'm gonna go invest over there. No, but that's what it is, right? Like, why is Chelsea sitting there?
It's crazy.
You can see Boston.
It's on the water.
What? Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of time. It also depends
I
on
agree.
politics.
No one wants to jump in first, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot, like herd mentality
I do.
is. You're an anomaly, right?
I
like
love
most
headaches.
most people want to wait and see what other people do.
Yeah.
I-
I see Chelsea as being like 5 years behind Eastie.
Really?
The only issue is that they are not, the mayor is not very pro development, and that's kind of holding it
Well,
back.
and the transportation,
that in their transportation,
their
of course.
transportation sucks.
Yeah.
their commuter rail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
need
you
to
have the
water.
Silver
They need
Line,
they need
but-
ferry.
Yeah.
They need water.
There it
open a
is.
ferry.
There
Just-
it
we
is.
need water
Just announce
transport.
it now.
You
Brendan's
see,
ferry.
You see Everett, for example. They don't have the T. They run a bus line, and their the development is.
They got the casino.
They do have the
though.
casino, but
Where's
they
the
have the
casino?
casino
And the
because the
600.
mayor's
They got the
pro-development.
600 too.
Yeah, they do have the 600, but they've made it very clear they want development. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
The doors
But,
are
okay.
open.
So that makes sense for a developer. But us, small time investors looking at 3s and 4s, why wouldn't we want Chelsea?
You know,
The vouchers in Chelsea are higher, the price point's lower. So that right there, like, tells you it's a
I love
no-brainer.
Chelsea. I live in Chelsea. I house
I'm
hack
not
in
a
Chelsea.
developer.
I love it.
I wouldn't know what to do with an excavator.
What does house hack mean?
When
Oh, so you live in Chelsea?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I love Chelsea. I think it's beautiful downtown.
any
great
thoughts of
homes.
selling? I'm happy to broker a deal.
No, I love that. Love that deal. House hacking is when you live in one unit and you rent out the other units in your multifamily to help offset your costs. Sometimes living for free, like me. I love Revere, and I preach Revere. I preach emerging
about
markets.
Lynn?
I love Lynn. I own in Lynn as well.
Okay.
I-
There's a lot to love in Lynn.
The commuter rail?
Well, all
Everything.
These, all
The
these
ferry.
markets are
The
emerging.
ferry soon.
I think people who don't, we're all from this area,
Yeah.
or we all know these markets. I think sometimes people are like, no, I don't want to be in Lynn. No, I don't want Chelsea. I don't want Revere. I'm like, there is so much development. You're right next to the beach. You have access to the T. What is there not to like about Beachmont, for example? It's going to be completely transformed in the
I
next
love the
10
stigmas.
years.
I'm like, good, stay out.
So here's
Fucking
my
Revere kid.
here-
Okay, go buy in Somerville and overpay and get your
Here's
3%
my
return.
big question though. Like, and I talk to Seth about this all the time. The pandemic created the need for white collar employees not to be in the office, right? And they have all fled to the exurbs, right? So you're seeing, Topsfield, Boxford, like all these places that are farther out that have, these employees that can now remote into their job, don't have to be in the office. Is there a change in the market closer to the downtown core based on, this sort of people that previously wanted to be close to work and now they don't have to be? Because I don't think anybody's going back to the office. Like, if you're not back to work yet, you're not going back. Like, nobody's being brought in now.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I think right now we're in a recession that no one's even talking about.
Well, did you see Twitter stop paying their rent?
Well,
Twitter's not paying their rent.
Well, more importantly, Twitter laid off 50% of their employees.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So everyone who had their job, had a comfortable position, I think there's a big shakeup. Tech industry is getting smoked.
They are.
So if you are now
And what's
one of those-
Boston big in?
Tech.
So,
but I think a lot of these companies now have leverage. Before, during COVID, everyone's working from home. Now try and tell them to come in when unemployment's at 3%, forget it. I think now that these employers have some leverage now, people are now interviewing, unemployment's going up, they can say, no, we're going to want you in the office. So that's kind of what I'm kind of seeing.
That's a new take.
That is a new take.
I like that. We've been talking about the commercial real estate stuff a lot in the city and how it's going to be affected.
I'm sure like half of it will turn into apartments, right?
That's my take. Yeah, I mean, listen, in a worst
There's
case
there's a
scenario,
use for it.
well, and Brendan's point is like, okay, so let's see these buildings that were mixed use. And, again, I'm unaware of the zoning process, right? You guys would be better to comment on that.
It's closed in Boston.
And they start to
shut
What the
down.
heck is?
Yeah.
They start to shift over to potentially converting to residential units, and more than likely they'll go very, very well, right? That being said, what's the point of living in the city if you don't have to work in the city, right? And then what is that? And obviously that's kind
Why
of
pay $2 million for
it's kind of
1,800 square feet when you can get 5,000?
It's a rhetorical question in
Yeah.
the sense that obviously the city's still really cool, is such good food, blah blah blah. Like not so much on that, right? But like you would think that if the migration continues to a degree and values are affected, and then these get converted, what does that do to units? We're probably still in a shortage of housing, and it doesn't matter. And I don't know. It's just like it's an interesting conversation to have, and it's just something we've been kind of spitballing about, like because I think. And I think you guys are in agreement. Like, I'm very bullish that the market's going to be completely fine at the end of all of this. And maybe, there's a slight dip. Unfortunately, the second rates release at all, and whatever they release to, I think this thing's going right back up, right? So, is commercial kind of like how lending was the pop in the mid 2000s? Is commercial the pop that we don't understand or see coming?
Like the Lehman moment, the Lehman Brothers. Is that the question? Is commercial the Lehman Brothers moment?
Yeah, who knows? I'm unaware.
Well, all this unknown is why I love workforce apartments. During the recession, during unemployment high, you see a ton of retail empty, vacant, for rent signs. Apartments stay full. I'm not talking about luxury apartments. One, I can't afford to buy those. And two, those get hit.
Those are that's a yet, Nick.
So I think just the safest play is workforce apartments.
Yeah, that's a good call.
No, we're not here questioning what's going to happen to workforce apartments.
Yeah, the regular guy's apartment. Yeah, good call.
What are you seeing as the demographic of buyer in East Boston right now, Karina?
Definitely, I still see a young professional for the most part. I've been seeing a lot of an increase in empty nesters,
Really?
which I thought was interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's maybe
Priced out at like the South End and Cambridge and that type of stuff, or
it could be. It could be. For them, it's basically they want to be close to the city. They lived in the suburbs. Their kids are gone. Too big of a house. They want to be closer to the city. Not in the city. It's too much for them. And I think they see East Boston as a place that's attractive. I don't know if that's development specific, and that's where I'm seeing an increase in that. But still, mostly your young professionals.
oh, where else can you buy? I mean, other than Winthrop and Revere, maybe like where else can you buy and be as closer in the city in East Boston and buy new construction like your project and Coleridge and like be at a very comfortable price point? I mean, put that anywhere else in Southie area of the city, and it's just an egregious number.
It's double, yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy, and it's funny how that
And it's a lot
savings-
cooler, right? Like you get
the public transportation, right, where
like
you
the
just
seaport.
don't have.
could be in Atlanta, it could be in Chicago, it could be any. It is so generic, right? Like East Boston has like some flavor, right? Like there's buildings are
It's very
cool, and like there's old buildings and there's new buildings, and it's gritty and it's nice all at the same time. Like it's cool.
It's much more modern too than
Yeah.
I think a lot of other developments that have gone on recently. Everett probably be the exemption. Maybe I feel like there's a lot of good stuff happening in Everett right now.
I agree. I love East Boston. I was born and raised there. I love the food primarily. I think you have incredible views of the city. You're easily accessible to there's what's not to love, like the airport, T. You're right next to the
Water
downtown.
transportation.
Yeah.
You love water transportation, man. Get
We also
off
have
of it.
a lot of parks and natural
do, yeah.
spaces. And I think Suffolk Downs is undervalued.
Yeah.
So I live in Nahant, and we're waiting for Suffolk Downs to come so that we have to leave, right? Like we're looking at it as like a nightmare scenario, right? Like Suffolk Downs is Armageddon
From a traffic standpoint.
standpoint, right? So if you live in Swampscott, Marblehead, Nahant, and
It's
you're
gonna be tough.
commuting into Boston, like Suffolk Downs is Armageddon type situation.
What do you think happens to those markets?
I don't know. I mean, they may be filled with remote workers.
Because that is true. Like it's funny. Like you'll leave today to get home, two towns away. Gonna take forever.
At least
We'll all get home in 10 minutes.
45 minutes at least.
And again, that's why I love buying in this area.
Yeah.
Close to the T. Close to the T. All right. So we've covered the market. We've covered investing.
I want to ask Nick a follow-up question. So at the very beginning, when he was talking about his start in 2008-ish with the REO market, what are you doing now? So you said you had gone through a full cycle. So what are you doing now to prepare yourself for the next version of this cycle?
Passive income.
Passive income.
I don't want to depend on sales. I don't want to depend on a commission check. I want commission checks to be like gravy, as you know, as ridiculous as it sounds, but I don't want to ever have to rely on them because it's nerve-wracking. We don't have health insurance, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
We're all 1099 employees. So don't be dependent on commission checks and you'll be in a good position.
All right, Karina, what are you doing to prepare for the...
Doing a lot more volume of everything. Like if it's content, I'm doing more of it. If it's trainings, I'm doing more of them. If it's networking events, I'm doing more of it. I'm saying yes to everything. That's the reason I'm here. I would have been here anyway, but I'm saying yes to everything because I can't afford not to. So I think that I will be fine.
Yeah.
And during this shift, like, where else are you going to put your money? So it's actually an easier time, arguably, to get someone to invest in real estate when they're taking all these losses in stocks, crypto,
Sure.
And then you just show them the spreadsheet.
Why crypto's a bad investment?
FTX.
Is it real? I love you got arrested in Bahamas. That's awesome. He probably thought he was safe on the beach.
I mean, they can't extradite him, right? Yeah. What could go wrong?
All right. So we've been going for a while. So I'm gonna hit you guys both with a couple of questions if that's cool.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can't look at the notepad. It's too early.
Well, I'm not looking.
All right. So what would you say, maybe in the last couple of years, was the biggest lesson you've had in real estate? And that could be a sales question or it could be an investing question.
My biggest lesson has been taking action. Like the impact that has had in my life. I've taken risk. I left my salaried job to do sales when I hadn't have one client, and it paid off tremendously. I bought property. I had no idea what I was doing. I bought property out of state. I joined a mastermind. I did I put myself out there and basically took action. And when
I said yes.
I said yes. I'm a yes girl. And when I look back, my life would be drastically different if I hadn't
Tried it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Nick?
I fell in love with 1031s. So trading up. So never become emotionally attached to a property. Look at the equity, do return on equity. Seth's laughing because every day I probably tell him to sell, trade up.
I text.
I feel like I'm emotionally attached.
I am. It's all.
I sound soulless. So
no, it's good.
Everyone looks at their properties as like, what's it making me? What's the cash flow? No, look at it, return on equity. So plug that number in and see what kind of buying power you have. So I traded at two really, dogs. the first things I bought when I didn't know how to underwrite deals, and I traded them up into really nice assets that I'm proud of. So seeing
Do they also cash flow too, though?
Yeah, they cash flow. I mean, not after I took the second mortgage out on one of them, but yeah, I mean, they do well. So, but that's the whole idea. I think now the whole thing is scaling. So everything I do is more like forced appreciation, scaling up, and there's no reason to have more than 5 roofs, in my opinion. So that's what I've learned over these last 2 months. 2 years.
Say that again. I missed.
So there's no reason like everyone's like, how many buildings do you own? I'm like, we kind of sweet if I only own 3, right? Like 3 10 units.
Yeah.
How sweet would that be? I sat down with an investor, and she's really sharp, really smart. Not knocking her, but I go, she owns 7 triple deckers. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, why not? Like, I'm sure
Get
one
out
of
of
those
buy an 80 unit.
I'm sure one of those isn't performing well. She's like, yeah. I was like, why don't you sell it? Trade it into something bigger, something nicer. Like, I don't want any shingle roofs. I want all rubber roofs now. Now I want brick buildings, but I don't need to own 10 buildings.
What about a brick building with a shingle roof?
So you trying to sell me something?
Zone.
Yeah. So having got out of those 2 properties, I'm like, it's kind of an eye opener. I'm like, damn, like I keep doing
smart.
that.
How long did it take you to come to terms with the emotional decision to sell your dogs?
When you sit in traffic on 93, you come to terms real quick. You're like, I hate this house. So that's what did it to me. So that's what I want. Again, my goal for next year, I think I want to do another 1031 and another SBA loan, or a SBA loan. You can only have one. So I'm trying to think of how I can accumulate.
I just got back from Denver for training on closing SBA loans.
Yeah, we got to talk. So
Are you one of the 5 or 6 attorneys in the state that can close SBA loans?
Nice. Awesome.
Fun fact for you, for the listeners. Okay, cool. Next question. What was your biggest mistake in the last couple of years in real estate?
Not buying more.
I knew it was going to be a missed opportunity answer.
Me is like not having systems in place. So my goal, and I think I had to come up with a word, was going to be systems. Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
So for me, it was just I was doing way too much on my own. I was doing those maintenance calls. I'm doing all the bookkeeping for my agents. I was afraid to like allocate resources and hire more people. And it's kind of that problem when you're like that in between, like being like a startup and being established. That's why it's nice. The more doors you have, all of a sudden you can afford to hire people. And like, wow, I'm freeing up some time so I can actually focus on sales and things I'm good at. So it was just kind of like tinkering either between like, sticking your toe in the pool and jumping all in. So not having systems.
Very cool.
My biggest mistake, it's a tough one. I would say it's not doing for myself what I do for clients. So an example is...
I can relate with that.
I think
really
we can
good.
all relate with that one.
Yeah. So in all aspects, one is like time management. Like I'll give my clients too much, where I'm putting aside people that I really care about. So learning to be better at that, but also how I would run a tenant for a client, for example. I once let my judgment be clouded when I met them in person and all this, whatever. Long story short, put a tenant in there that wasn't a qualified tenant. I would have never done that for a client, but I did it for me because it was me. So stuff like that.
I've done that twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So stuff like that.
The application never would have made it to the client if it was your call.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that exactly. So learning from that and just being holding my boundaries a lot.
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
cool.
Better.
And just it's funny you say that because like even when I was purchasing this building, like I go through like I don't know, it worked for me, so I was like I don't care, right? And I still stand by the decision. Literally like a week before closing, my insurance agent was like, just so you know, it's in a flood zone. And I'm like, are you serious? Like I'd never even clicked to me to check because I just presumed it wasn't. I never would have done that if it was.
We
like,
talked about that.
Yeah.
I bought Broadway without factoring in vacancy. I never would have done that for a client.
Yeah.
We make.
It's
mistakes.
funny.
Yeah.
Like that's so true. Like, and I also a couple years ago I sold my own primary residence. Won't do it ever again. I'll never. It's so tough to relinquish the power when you're your own buyer's agent. Right, because you're like, oh, whatever. I'll take a commission, not take a commission. I'll do it. I'm fine. I can negotiate. It's fine. But you truly do like become really emotional and too focused on the deal, and I think you lose sight of that. Like as an example, we listed at a weird day, weird time, and then I went to host the first open house, and my wife's like, hey, when's the house going on the market? I'm like, I put it on Wednesday. She's like, there's no sign. And I was like, yeah, I really don't want the neighbors to know. Like, can you believe
Yeah.
that? You know,
I
it's
would
just,
never
she's
do
like,
that.
she's like, what's wrong with you? She was so like in my, she's like, you realize like I found this house because I drove down the street by mistake and I saw the sign. Like, if it was a client's house, when's the sign go out? I was like 3 weeks ago. You know, it's just like, man, just such a crazy moment where like you're in your own head. I don't think I'll ever put myself in that position again. That's I think a really good one. Okay, another question. Best book you've read, whether it be investing, real estate, coaching, whatever it is, to kind of really help you kind of have an aha moment maybe in the last couple of years in your career, investing or real estate sales.
So one of mine is The E-Myth. I don't know if you guys have read it.
No, I haven't.
If your thing's is systems, you got to read it. So that for me, that book was really powerful because it's all about systems. And it got me thinking about how I had to transition from being a solo to having a team to building
Who wrote
systems. Michael E. Gerber.
Michael
I'm
Gerber.
surprised I remember
Can you spell that?
Yeah,
Can you
no.
spell that for us?
That's a pretty well-known book. Yeah, he's good.
So they have one just for real estate agents. So
Oh,
I'll
really?
read that one.
Very cool. Nick?
God, I'm drawing a blank on it. He brings he drills wells in Africa.
Oh God, one of my clients sent him $15,000.
Yeah, did he?
No.
Oh no,
With
no.
some priest that
Is he a
for-
prince?
Oh
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
I'm drawing a blank. Something water. It was just incredible. So he left how I always envision hopefully one day having more time, making more of an impact in the
difference,
community, and just kind of seeing that like if you hustle now and then later on in life hopefully have something a bigger ambition, more impactful. So it was a really cool story. So I tried
We
not
don't know
to.
the name of the book, but it was a good book. Yeah.
I think that Nick needs to read the 6 to 7 Figure Income.
Oh yeah, it was a good book.
That was a great book. That did a lot for me.
But I made you read.
You
that.
made me read it.
I haven't read
Yeah.
that one.
It's Austin Netzley. It's very good. All about systems.
Yeah.
So Nick,
It's all about it's interesting how they break that book down because they look at it like more of a linear timeline of systems.
Okay.
And everybody has a clog that they're bad at. Like my clog was marketing. Still probably is marketing. And specifically systems that help us scale marketing. Right? We're good at marketing in a vacuum of pieces, but how we maybe distribute that content. So it was very interesting. Like that was my stop that made us screw up all these other processes because it was the clog in the wheel. You know what I mean? So hopefully that made sense.
yeah. I read a book recently. It was called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan.
Yeah, I read that.
And it was that changed everything for me.
Delegation.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad since COVID. I haven't been reading much. It's all
Well, you can
now.
also
Big reader.
download and listen.
So my thing now is
Big.
Rosetta Stone and Babel. So I'm really
Oh, you're learning a new
2023 is
language.
What are you
bilingual Spanish.
Oh, nice.
So I actually just got a Spanish teacher who canceled on me today. But yeah, so that's my goal now.
Is
So
this
I'm
for
kinda putting-
business?
I don't know.
I wonder if you could use your trip to Ecuador as a learning experience
Business
for your
expense.
business.
Is that a write-off?
I don't know. I mean, I would consult with your accountant, maybe take a lesson or two when you're there.
Well, hey, Revere is the second largest Colombian population in the
Yeah.
state. So I think you're kind of blind to act like being bilingual is not a huge benefit.
I think it's a huge, like the biggest disservice my parents did to me was like not demanding that I learn Spanish.
Isn't it crazy? Like how many languages do you speak?
Me?
Yeah. One.
Yeah. He looked at me as if it was more than one.
Uno.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the smartest person in this room? Boom.
You know, it's just so.
For the
fun
record,
and,
everybody pointed at Karina.
yeah.
Great.
For the listeners,
It's
yeah.
so bad.
It's
you go anywhere else in the world.
It's amazing how ignorant
Americans.
we've become because like, you know, like I have a good friend. He lives on the West Coast. Their son is Kennedy's age, speaks 3 languages. Just like what? Like how did I screw that up already?
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. Anywho,
I wonder if Milton still has their French immersion program, which seems like such a great investment. In
that's what I
today's
took in
world.
school. French.
Me too.
Parlez-vous français?
Oui, je parle un peu de français.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? That's about I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
I could probably call you a pineapple or something. That's about all I can remember. So, cool, Brendan.
So, am I taking it home?
I think you're taking it.
We're
home,
taking
yeah.
it home. All right. So, what as you know, the name of the podcast is The Word, and one of the things we like to end on is asking our clients if you were to summarize the coming year in a word, what would that word be that would summarize sort of your next 2023?
Around specifically like around like your action item
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
For me, the word would be scale.
Yes.
And it's an interesting year to do it, but I think
You're right though.
It's a great word.
I think for me, I've seen what works and what gets me to a certain level, and I'm really prepared to put those systems in place to take me to the next level. That's the goal.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
Nick,
I
what's
know
your
I kind of
word?
already said it, but it's systems.
Yeah.
So I want to focus on what I'm good at, and I also want time. You know, I think, unfortunately, I think we have this society where everyone's like brags about how much they work.
The hustle is
And
embraced here, and it shouldn't be.
It's embarrassing how much I work,
I'm
and
with you, man.
I would never post my laptop late at night. Like it should be closed. I should be spending it with my girlfriend or my family. So I think if I have the right systems in place, if I get over this control flaw that I have and actually allocate resources, maybe take on another employee or two, and just put those systems in place, it's going to make me a better person, and it's going to help me grow.
Yeah, it's I love everything you guys just said. You guys said it better than I could have. The interesting thing is I just spent a couple weeks in Florida, and it was one of my goals for 2022 after purchasing this house, or when we were on the quest to purchase this house in Florida, is I really wanted to spend Thanksgiving. We don't have a lot of family up here. Like, we want to go to Florida for Thanksgiving, make our own kind of tradition, right? And listen, there's like Thanksgiving more so, in my opinion, than Christmas weekend or Christmas week, whatever you want to call it, is like the only true protected week in real estate. A lot of people aren't doing open houses, right? A lot of people are traveling. That shit's in the middle of the week. Like, it's so great because people really kind of shut it down on a Tuesday, especially in the corporate world. They might even just take the week. And so I always try and protect that week a lot. So we went down to Florida, and it was a goal for us. We spent almost what felt like 9. I was on the phone with Nick.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, you're still in Florida? Don't call me again. And it was kind of fun to do that. And so I would work 2-3 hours in the morning, and then be very purposeful to try and not be on technology. We would just go to the beach every afternoon or whatever, and it was awesome. Killer memories. Can't wait to do it again next year. And then specifically, I destroyed my iPhone by accident, and I didn't have a phone for like 5 days.
Were you okay?
So no.
I feel the anxiety in this story.
For the first, like, I don't know at what point. I was either a Thursday or Friday, and we were going to like Disney for the weekend, which I really could have used my phone. But like, I was unwell for like 6 hours, and then I just forgot about it.
Good.
You know what I mean? And to your point, everything we're doing is an effort to create free time and, passive income. And, we all got in this business because we got to quote unquote make our own schedule and help clients. And man, it's like, if you don't protect that, it's going to be tough. So I love scaling. I love being accountable. I know Brendan's really focused on that. So it was just cool to kind of hear you guys talk about that. So cool.
Yeah, it was great to have you both on and hear about what's going on, how you got here, and learn a little bit more about you.
I think we're going to definitely have to have you guys back.
100%.
We also say that about everybody, so don't take it a good bad way. But I think I loved kind of how you were starting to go around like teaching finance and that type of stuff. I think that's a whole topic, and teaching credit or the education system, homeschooling. Like I just find that all very interesting, and like we don't always have to talk about real estate, right? So we'd love to have you guys back on if you guys are open to it. So
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah,
Cool.
thank you guys.
Awesome.
Oh.